Good morning. I started my day out just checking my feed for any good news from all the YouTube channels that I watch that are associated with the things we talk about. And there's just absolutely nothing today, and I was, pretty disappointed. All I have to do today is pay my bills and a couple of chores, and I just would rather start my day out with something more positive. Um, So I mentioned Rapture verses, and I've got a list of them here. There's stuff that hints at it. There's so many things. Some of them are a little ambiguous, but overall, the, the bulk of this is pretty solid. Let me show you a couple that we all know. We probably all heard Luke 21:36. This one's very straightforward, and there's not too many that are this easy to see. There's a couple in Revelation. So Revelation 3:3 is a good one. If you don't watch, it says here, if you shall not watch, I shall come as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I come upon thee. So what the context of that is saying, if you're not watching, you're not going to know this hour he's going to come upon. Now, if you're left behind, you should be able to know when he's going to come upon you because he's giving you date counts. So this is the big elusive time that we're all trying to prepare for and figure out. Let me just show you something else here. Thou hast a few names even in Sardis, which have not defiled their garments, and they shall walk with me in white, for they are worthy. Okay, so they're going to walk with him in white. Now, there's a whole bunch of references to the white and the linen and clothed in white linen, and we'll get to that later. So just remember that. This is a little additional information affirming this here, that this is part of a rapture. Revelation 3:10 is one of the strongest ones. I've mentioned it before. Because you have kept the word of my patience, I will also keep you from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world. Okay. We know that's right around the corner. To try them that dwell on the earth. And then dwell upon the earth is a phrase that we pointed out in previous videos. And it tells you to hold fast so no one takes your crown. Now the crown is part of watching. Okay, that's it's a little affirmation there of what they're talking about here. And if you're watching, you're going to be in the rapture. And others will too, I'm sure, but you're supposed to be prepared for it. And I think I changed my view. I think we're going to know a very short window of time of when it's going to be, because as we get closer to this, it's really looking more and more. We have a 7-year period that we're either in it or about to start it. Whatever the case, we know we're here. So as time goes on, we're going to see more and more and more confirmations, and we're going to narrow this down pretty quick. I'm sure we will, because it says that we will. It says we will. If we're watching, we're basically going to know. So again, verse 3:11, nobody talks about that, but hold fast so no one takes your crown, and that's the crown for watching. That's associated with the rapture. Talked about Revelation 12:4 and 5 briefly. It's talking about drawing a third part of the stars of heaven. Stars are angels, so casting them to earth is probably the third of the angels that are being kicked out of heaven permanently and on earth. These are the demons and the evil angels, guys. And the dragon stood up before the woman which was ready to be delivered. There's the key word right there. And, I think there's some jumbling of the sentence. And in verse 5, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throat. Caught up, okay? And on Revelation 12:5 here, I'm using this Strong's. The caught up here it is, verse 5, is G726, harpazo, pluck, pull up, take away. Okay, so catch away. It's one of the rare uses of G726, which is harpazo. Let's see that. And I mentioned, I think this is a scrambling of the two verses, because it just looks like it to me. It makes it very confusing to combine all this together, but when you separate the last half of this one and the first half of this one, it does make more sense. Before the woman which was ready to be delivered, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. That reads very clearly. If you read this, start from top to bottom, it just doesn't make as much sense. And maybe it does in the original Greek, but it definitely doesn't in English. And we'll get into that with some other verses I found where just the order of the words in Greek are different. Everybody knows Spanish puts, the verbs and the nouns in a different order from what we do. And so that's the case here. It appears to me that I'm not fully studied in Greek. I'm learning it as I go, but it's clear there's an issue here with the way this reads in English. And the very next verse is the confirmation. The woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of God, that she should feed her 1,260 days. So this is why I think it's pre-trib here, because the 1260 seems to be the first half of the tribulation, where the 1290 seems to be the second half, and the 1335. I think that difference in time there, that 45 days, is the days that they're rejoicing were all gone. And that's in the previous chapter right here. I think probably just jump right to it. And those that dwell upon the earth rejoice over them and make merry, sending gifts to one another, because these two prophets that tormented them that dwelt over the earth are gone now. Okay, because they're dead. Okay, see that? So that's Revelation 9 through 11. Okay, so that's the connection there. And again, the 1260 seems to be the first half of the tribulation after the rapture, because it's saying they're going to be fed in a place prepared by God for 1,260 days. This is totally different than the resurrection, if that is indeed the case, a second event right before the wrath. Revelation 19:7 has some things here about his wife had made herself ready. So, here's one of the things about the fine linen, clean and white. Okay. Let us be glad and rejoice, give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb has come, and his wife has made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. Now, I talked about the reference to that clothed in white earlier. And you can see down here, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. These two verses are connected. These are the same people. And this is saying that the people that are raptured up after they've rested are going to come back with him. Okay, that's what it looks like it says. Revelation 26 says, blessed and holy he that has part in the first resurrection. They're using the word resurrection there. They shall be priests and priests of God in Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. So this is saying there's a first resurrection. See, so that means that there would be a second resurrection. And if they use the word harpazo there, it'd be too easy for the enemy to corrupt. So they've coded it this way: first resurrection, which implies there's a second resurrection, guys. You see that? I know it's not clear, but that's the clue, that they've called it the first resurrection. And it's just amazing to me how difficult this is. Because the first resurrection is a small group of people, and they'll be priests of God in Christ. So now, is that going to be millions and millions of people in the second resurrection? No, it's going to be a small group of people that get to be the priests of God in Christ. How many priests are in the church? A couple. And how many people are in the congregation? Hundreds. See? I hope that's clear. I'm doing all this on one take and just on the fly, but to me it's really clear that there's something here to ponder by the wording. Heavily coded, so it can't be corrupted. So we'll jump back to Isaiah 11:11, and this has got hints of it too. You can read the whole thing yourself here real quick. And it says, "It shall come to pass in that day, the Lord shall set his hand in the second time to recover the remnant of his people." Okay. "And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel," the lost tribes of Israel, "to gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth." See that? This is very different than we're all going to endure the tribulation, die, and be resurrected. This is not saying that. This is saying he's going to gather together the dispersed people from the four corners of the earth. Not the dispersed dead people. Do you see how heavily coded this is? It's very hard. And then down here at the last verse, it's a little confirmation of what I just said. "And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left." So, there's a highway for the remnant of his people. There's no reference to people being killed and then resurrected, and this is people that didn't die, right? I mean, there's no indication here that these people are people who were killed by the beast and beheaded, and then, there's no indication of that. He's going to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, Egypt, okay, and shall assemble the outcasts, gather together the dispersed. It's just, the wording is nothing like what we've been told that, by people that are post-trib and stuff. It's not the same wording. Daniel 12:1 is talking about at the time Michael stands up, there shall be a time of trouble such as never was. There's coming this time of trouble that shall never was unto a nation to that same time, and at that time the people shall be delivered, everyone found written in the book of life. Okay, so this is telling us the timing, right at the time of trouble such as never was a nation, the people will be delivered, everyone found written in the book. It also says during the resurrection that there'll be people that are raised from the dead. So I don't know what the criteria is for that. There's not much about that I've studied yet. So this is the first resurrection. Do you see that? There's the second resurrection. All the post-tribbers, they've got that covered very thoroughly. And I guess I could get into that. I'm trying to keep it short, though. A little closing comment here in verse 3. They shall be wise and shine as the brightness of the firmament, that they turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. See, these people are wise and trying to turn many to righteousness. See, this is not the left behind, the lukewarm church that missed it. I just think this is so exciting, guys. I'm really happy I decided to sit down and try this. I know it's rough around the edges, but I think you guys can get the point. Now, watch this. So, verse 6, and one said to the man clothed in linen, this is another reference to that white linen, okay, how long shall it be till the end of these wonders? And it's another times and half a time. It's not a 1260, it's not a 1290, it's a times and half a time. Okay. And then, he's asking when, and these are sealed up. Okay, so this is a reference to the second half of the tribulation, and the men in white are standing there watching this. All right? If you guys got alternate meanings for this, I'd love to hear them. But this is something that I'm doing it on the fly. I don't have hundreds of hours into this, but, I will. I sure will when this is all said and done. And so I got verse 10 down here. None of the wicked shall understand, the wise shall understand. And then there's the 1290 is referenced here, and the 1335. So this is a very, very telling chapter. Look at that. I mean, I've got the whole thing highlighted almost with notes. I mean, there's a note on. I've got a note on every single verse here, almost. A couple other quick ones before I close. Matthew 24:17. Let him on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Well, the only way to leave your house then is to go what? If you can't come down, which way do you have to go? That's a simple one. This one here is giving us a little hint of the timing. Pray that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation. So, this may be talking about the beginning of it, or talking about the second half. I'm on the fence on this one, because later in that chapter it says there will be two in the field, one shall be taken, the other left. Okay, one grinding at the mill, the other left. Watch therefore. So this is telling you to watch. Now the people left behind weren't watching. Okay, so this may have just jumped back in time to say, make sure you're watching so you miss all this other stuff that's here. Okay. Luke 12:38. If I shall come in the second watch or come in the third watch and find them so, blessed are those servants. Okay. Because the previous verse is saying, blessed are the servants whom the Lord, when he come, find watching, that he shall gird himself. That means to, clothed in linen and white and all that stuff. Okay, so there's another one there that's on the same topic. Luke 12:40, be ready, also, for the Son of Man comes at an hour when you think not. Well, you know, if you know the day count after the tribulation starts, you should have a really good idea when he's coming. All right. Peter asks a question here. Lord, speakest thou this parable unto us, or even to all? He's asking him to explain the parable. And Jesus answered, the red words here, which don't turn, the red goes away, unfortunately, when I highlight it. Who then is that faithful and wise steward, who the Lord shall make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of meat to see? And, okay, so again, here's a reference to the wise steward who's watching. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord when cometh. It's so hard for me to read the King James this early in the morning, sorry. So you're blessed if he finds you doing what he's asked. And he will make him ruler over all that he has. So this isn't, you know, there's not going to be 6 billion rulers. There's going to be a small handful of people that fit these, I would think. And there's references to the multitudes in Revelation. I'm not going to have time to get to that, but it's clearly a second group. This one's really interesting. Let me see my notes here. Yeah, I did put it in the Rapture verses. And he says, this one's just like a timing thing. So, and he says also to the people, when you see a cloud rise out of the west, straightway you say, therefore come a shower, so it is. So when you see the wind blows south, there will be heat, and it comes to pass. So he's saying, you know, you can see the face of the sky and the earth, but you cannot discern this time that he's talking about above here. All right. I got a little off topic there, but the point is that he's really pointing out to us what to look for. We see it all around us now, and it's all here. He's telling us clearly. I mean, once you decode this and once you spend the time, it's very clear to me that there's two groups. There's one that escapes all the things to come, and there's a whole larger group that has to endure a whole bunch of it. That's why there's a 1260 count. That's why there's a 1290 count and a 1335. I think the 1335 and 1290 is the time those heathen get to rejoice, us being gone. They have a short time to enjoy their little planet to themselves, and then it comes down. And that's when I think the saints in the rapture come back with him to basically fight the war with him. That's what it looks like it says in Revelation. So I'm going to wrap it up. And again, I might not post this. I kind of stumbled around too much. This is one of my roosters named Bella. They thought it was a girl, the people that had it, and it turned out to be a rooster, so they had to get rid of it, and so we adopted it, and his name is Bella, and he's a little sweetheart. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll talk again soon. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I pointed out some verses that maybe other people haven't, that have connections to it, and I think the white and the linen thing, that's something I haven't heard anybody really put together yet either, is just how many references to all that are connected to verses that pertain to that subject. Let me know what you think. Have a great day, guys.